Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's me, Abigail Grace, and I am doing my January reading wrap up. It's 2023, it's my first one of the year. I try and post one of these every month. Sometimes I don't get around to it, but you gotta start off strong. So we're starting with January, and I read 9 books this month. I set an ambitious reading goal of trying to read 96 books this year. So I gotta keep going. But to start, I listened to an audiobook that I was listening to in December, and I finished it at the beginning of January, which was The 12 Clues of Christmas, which if you've watched any of my other reading wrap-ups, you've probably heard me talk about this series before. It's the Her Royal Spyness series, and there's like 15 books that are basically audio only, I think, on Audible. And my mom listens to them, and I listen to them too. They're never outstanding, like 5 stars. They're pretty much always a 3-star, like middle of the road. But I do like the characters, and it's like a fun thing for me to listen to, like on a long car ride. So that was my first book of the year. My second book was a book that my sister got me for Christmas, which is When in Rome by Sarah Adams. She also wrote The Cheat Sheet, which was a really popular book on Book Talk, I feel like, maybe early last year, about a football player. But this is about a pop star who loves Audrey Hepburn and loves Roman holiday. So she's trying to escape her life, so she goes to the nearest Rome, which is like Rome, Kentucky. And there she meets a baker who owns a pie shop, and he takes her in and lets her stay with him because there's no room at the hotel or the B&B that she was supposed to stay at. And it's romance. I thought it was really cute. I read it very quickly, like in less than a day, and it was a 4-star for me. Really sweet rom-com, and also hardly any spice. It's closed door, so there you go. For those who don't like spice, that one's for you. Next, we have Romancing Mr. Bridgerton, which is the 4th book in the Bridgerton series, and it's what season 3 of Bridgerton is based on, which is Colin and Penelope's story. So if you've watched Bridgerton, you know who they are. I have not read any of the other books. I just read this one. I skipped the first 3 and just read number 4 because I wanted to read Colin and Penelope's story before season 3 comes out. I don't know when season 3 is coming out, but I was just really in the mood for like a Bridgerton book, and so I picked this one. And it was really good. I give it 5 stars, which might change. I have been known to go back and change ratings on books after I set on them for a while, but I was like squealing, kicking my feet, and I really liked it. It is spicy. It's definitely like a 3 on the spice level, so keep that in mind. Next, I read From Lukov with Love, which was another book I read on my Kindle. I didn't mention that, but Romancing Mr. Bridgerton, I read on my Kindle. From Lukov with Love, I read on my Kindle as well. And this one was so hyped up on Book Talk. Maybe not so hyped up. I've just seen it several times because I love hockey romance. And this is not hockey, but it is ice skating, and so it's in the same realm. Let me tell you, this is the definition of a slow burn. Like, nothing happens until maybe the last 20 pages. Like, it's shocking how slow a burn this is, and I was like yearning the whole time. The main characters basically hate each other. You know how that is. It's like enemies to lovers, kind of, but they have to be skating partners. They're paired up. But it's also he fell first, which is, it makes me like so warm and mushy on the inside. So I just loved all the tropes, everything that was in this book. I give it 4 stars. But now that I'm thinking about it, I think I liked it more than, actually, I don't know. I gave it 4 stars. It could easily be 5, but I had just rated Romancing Mr. Bridgerton and rated it 5, and I didn't feel like I could do 2 5 stars back to back at the very beginning of the year. So again, some ratings may change, but that was the next book that I read. Then I just really wanted like a quick romance because I was like, oh, after From Lukov with Love, I was like, I need something that's just gonna be like good and juicy from the beginning and not have to wait the whole freaking book. So I read More Than the Game, which is a book that I just saw like one video about on TikTok and was like, oh, could be good. It's about a baseball player. It was fine. I gave it 3 stars. It was average. That's basically all I have to say about it. It's a single mom and a baseball player. They fake date and then yada, 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 fall in love. Next, I think the reason why I picked up More Than the Game, which was the baseball book that I read on Kindle, is because I was halfway through If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so heavy and dark. So I quickly sped through More Than a Game and then finished this. But I'm very glad that I powered through and finished this. I talked about this in my last video where I was wearing this exact same thing. I promise you, I wear other clothes, but whatever. It was challenging. It was a tricky read for sure. It's very much, I feel like, what people on Book Talk talk about as the epitome of dark academia, and I feel like it fits into that theme. It's set in a very prestigious acting school, and there's 7 people that are like the main characters, but there are 7 people in like the class, the 4th year class of this prestigious university, and one of them dies, and one of them is convicted as the killer, but we don't really know what happened or who did it. Like, we don't know the story, and so we kind of unravel it, switching from present day of him telling the story and past tense of the retelling. I don't know if that made any sense, but it is very good, and it did keep me on the edge of my seat wondering like, what happened? Who did it? Why? And I gave it 4 stars. There's a lot of references to Shakespeare, so if you don't know anything about Shakespeare or haven't been in that world, it can be a lot. They quote so much from Shakespeare, and a lot of their dialogue is Shakespeare, and I'm like, it's hard to digest, so keep that in mind. Next, I read, let me see what's next. Next I listened to Built to Last, and this I did not like. The audiobook was not good. The narrators were cringy, and I might have liked it more if I had read the book, but I didn't. I listened to it and I was not a fan of the narrators. So that is why I gave this one 2 stars, which is low for me. I hardly ever give books 2 stars. Yeah. I don't have anything good to say about it. The plot is okay. It's like childhood. They're childhood friends / lovers. They were child actors and now they're grown up and they're back on like a reality home renovating show together. And it's like second chance romance. Anyway, next I read Something in the Air, which is set in like Regency era. The main characters, basically, the only way they can keep their house, like the way it's set up and like the will of this grandpa, is that they have to be married and produce an heir. And basically the wife has lied and said that they have children. I'm so sorry, this lighting is very yellow and I'm just not realizing it. That's worse. Anyway, she's lied. So they hire 2 children from an orphanage to pretend to be their children, but in the process of that, they begin to fall in love with each other, because basically they married just so they could keep the house, and also fall in love with the children that they have chosen to pretend are their children. So I really liked it. There's really no spice, so that's good for you non-spice lovers. And this was 4 stars. My review on Goodreads says 4.5, good, but needed more spice. So for me, that was what was missing from this. But for some people, that's a plus, so keep that in mind. And then last but not least, I read Begin Again, which is Emma Lord's new book. It just came out this month, and I have really loved all of Emma Lord's old books. She wrote Tweet Cute, which was one of my favorites. Some other ones that I really liked. I can't remember the titles. Oh, You Have a Match. Anyway, I had pre-ordered this and I was really looking forward to it, and it did not disappoint. This one got 5 stars from me. It is YA, so all of her books are YA, and honestly, if I know something's YA, I can't expect spice. I expected spice in this. I didn't in this, so it did not let me down. This girl goes to college. She transfers mid-year to a new school, and it's basically all about her finding, like, there's found family, and there is romance, but it's not just about the romance. It's about her working through the grief and trauma of losing her mom and her dad kind of abandoning her. So there's a lot to it, and Begin Again by Taylor Swift is just like on repeat in my mind. So definitely check this out, because I really enjoyed it, and Emma Lord always does a great job. So those are the books that I read in the month of January. I'm currently chowing down on a good new fantasy series, so expect to hear more about that next month. But I will see you guys in my next video, and I love you. Bye.